Hello everyone. Today we have a bloody action Goblin Killer. Let's get started. The author of this work is a real genius because no one in this world has a name and the main characters are a priestess and a Goblin Killer. It all starts with the fact that the priestess wants to become an adventurer and gets a porcelain rank. The three highest are platinum, gold, and silver. The novice group calls her to kill goblins and the heroine agrees. Inside, they show their unpreparedness and incompetence, which is why the goblins who came from behind jumped the girl, tore the guy apart, and defiled the karate girl. The priestess is trying to save at least someone, but she was hit by an arrow and she is already preparing for death. And then she is saved by a Goblin Killer whose experience is confirmed by a silver badge. He sends the priestess's partner to rest. She could not be saved. Thanks to spells, traps, and potions, they manage to destroy all the goblins and the heroes rescue the shocked girl. After that, the priestess, who bought armor on the advice of the Goblin Killer, wants to go on a mission with him. We are told the backstory of a new character. I will call her Rose. As a child, she had a fight with a friend of our main character and went to the city. She wanted to come and apologize to a friend, but when she arrived back, it turned out that her parents were cut out by goblins. Now, she lives with her uncle and rents housing from them. Our hero. He always carefully checks the area for traces and briefly answers questions. After a snack, he goes with Rose to the guild along the way. They say that there are more goblins, and Rose says that more work is good, but Goblin Killers answer it would be better if they did not exist at all. In the guild, everyone laughs at the hero because he kills the weakest monsters, but somehow he doesn't care. A priestess comes and answers an oral test from the hero. Learns from a professional, so to speak. While the Rose is hiding, they go on a task to clean up the goblin's lair, and with the help of fire arrows and a new spell, the priestesses perform the task. The hero comes back to the Rose and goes to eat again. We're told about the parable of how the gods of light and order competed with the gods of darkness and chaos, throwing dice and deciding who would rule this world. A company of lizard, dwarf, and elf people is looking for a Goblin Killer and want to talk to him. He goes with them and tells the priestess to stay. A couple approaches the priestess and wants to call her to him, but she wants to stay with the Goblin Killer. A witch approaches her and says how useful our hero's work is and how she once helped him with scrolls. The elf doubts the competence of the hero, but the Yard notices that his equipment is very well thought out. They tell us that an army of demons is coming, but our hero only needs goblins, to which the elf is very indignant, but they did not come for them to have a person in the team because they work for people. It would be a shame for customers that there is no person in the team, and they say that the task is to kill goblins. The priestess and the company go to work. They make a halt where they get high from wine and cheese. The elf wants to see the scrolls, but the hero forbids her if they are opened. They do not immediately work. Then the hero tells that his sister, who was never mistaken, assumed that the goblins came from the green moon and were jealous of what is on earth, which is why they do their own dirty business. They go to the lair, and the elf deftly kills 3 targets. The parable continues. When the gods got bored of throwing dice, they created many places which they gave to live and new creatures. The team goes inside and sees a trap, but there are no totems nearby, so the leader is not a shaman, but someone else. They turn in the opposite direction from where the goblins are and find an elf who is rescued, and a necromancer lizard, his servant, carries her to the village. They make a small halt, prepare for battle, and the dwarf and the elf want to take revenge on the goblin for what they did to their relatives. They find hordes of goblins, and the hero comes up with a plan. They intoxicate them and kill them one by one, and the elf begins to learn from the killer. An ogre comes to them, and the priest protects them from his spell. The team tries to injure the enemy, but he quickly regenerates, and the ogre imprints the hero into the pillar. The priestess helps, and the killer rises. He says that he has a plan and goes straight to the enemy. He uses a scroll and cuts the ogre into pieces. The witch helped him make a high-pressure water cutting weapon out of a scroll for cleaning water. The killer finishes off the arrogant ogre. The elf wants to someday show the hero a real fun adventure and not this nightmarish horror. Next, we are shown a couple of adventurers, and they have to run away from big cockroaches because the boy's sword is stuck in a rat in the guild. He asks for advice from the receptionist and other guild members. The witch gives him a candle that will show him the way to the sword that he lost. Next, He asks the Goblin Killer what to fight with if he lost his sword and there is no money, to which the heroes answer that the club is a great option. The advice really helps the guy, and they fight off opponents well, and the sword turns out to be in one of the insects. We turn to the main character. The company asks him to give the lizard more cheese, and the elf says that they can call him for another case. The hero replies that he will think. The priestess has received a new rank and thanks the killer for saving her. The registrar also asks the hero to be an observer at the meeting about raising the rank of one of the adventurers, and he agrees. It turned out that the adventurer appropriated the treasure of the team and hid it from them. They want to expel him from the guilds for a long time, and he wants revenge but understands that the Goblin Killer will not give it to him and goes away. The receptionist, who is in love with the hero, thanks him and he leaves. A colleague tells about a sword maiden who killed a demon king and is a servant of one of the gods. Then the hero comes and gives a letter with a task for goblins, meaning a personal petition to the hero from someone important. The guy tells a story about how a girl appeared out of nowhere and dealt with the undead with one blow of the holy sword. But our hero is only interested in killing goblins. The hero invites the guys with him to the task from the letter, but they give him conditions that he will not use poison and fire, and together they go to the Maiden of the Sword, who tells that a dead girl was found and a small creature was caught up and killed nearby. It turned out to be a goblin. The hero is told to get into the sewers and destroy the freaks. They go inside and repel several attacks of small creatures, after which they encounter goblin ships and successfully deal with them all together. Later, they see a swamp alligator and run away. The hero told the priestess to put light on the tip of the alligator's tail. The goblins learn that heroes walk with light, and therefore this works as a bait. The hero says that even though goblins are stupid, they are well trained. So he does not give goblins new knowledge by simply killing them and assuming that someone specially multiplied them here and taught them to sail on ship. The priestess does not understand what the hero has in his head. She is resting in a bath where the virgin says that one day there will be no goblin killer. The elf passes by the louts to the hero, who notices that it is strange with such a huge sewer, there is not a single task for rats. The team goes to clean up the sewer to the end, and the hero takes a canary with him so that, if anything, she finds poisonous gas. They go to the goblin's lair, where they find a corpse and fall into a trap. The room is filled with poison, and the hero gives everyone coal to make masks, gives cement with which they seal up the cracks. The poison does not pass, and the goblins try to break in. The team is preparing for an attack, and after a small sweep, the hero goes forward, gutting goblins into pieces. The priestess barely holds the shield. The killer is imprinted again, but this time the injuries are very serious. The priestess is in shock and the shield disappears. Goblins attack the heroes and bite off a piece of meat from the priestess, which is why she screamed. The hero hears the scream. He has memories of how, as a child, he could not fight goblins and just hid. He gathers his courage and, through excruciating pain, strangles the leader and inflicts severe injury on him. The goblins were just terrified and fled. The priestess is patched up and the killer calms her down, but the demon of consciousness falls. As a child, the hero had a teacher. He asked him 3 riddles. The hero answered the first 2. The third riddle was to answer the question, what does the teacher have in his pocket? Heroes woke up with a priestess and talks to a maiden who is afraid of goblins because they defiled her, but at the same time she killed demons herself. She asks for help and leaves. The priestess wakes up and is very confused by the fact that he saw everything. The team comes to the hero. They want to eat together. They eat and go off to explore the ruins. The hero and the priestess give their equipment for repair. The priestess does not want to buy a new chainmail because it keeps the memory of the Goblin Killer. They eat ice cream, and the hero asks the seller the secret of production, and now the priestess understands how he knows so much. Sitting on a bench, the hero tells how as a child he was afraid to even walk down the street, but realized that he had to go forward despite the fear. They bring him flour for his next plan. Uncle tells Rose that one day the hero will simply not return, but she replies that he will definitely come. They find an eye monster with very dangerous abilities in the sewer and distracting him. The hero scatters flour. The team stands behind the priestess's barrier, and the eye undermines itself by attacking the skeleton. They are worried about a strange mirror in this room. It turns out to be a portal from where someone led the goblins into the sewer, and the monster defended this place, and now the goblins are running to recapture it. The squad is building a barricade. The lizard is breaking off the mirror, and the elf dwarf and the hero are rushing and shooting at the goblins. They are being squeezed a little, and the killer goes forward to detain the goblins. The hero has come up with a plan and tells the dwarf to launch a huge stone up and put a mirror over himself. The priestess conjures light and blinds enemies who, along with the fragments of the ceiling, fall into the mirror, and the team gets out of the depths. The hero comes to the Virgin and realizes that she knew everything about the mirror. The demon wanted to use it, and he killed that woman. The apostle could not go to kill goblins out of fear, and therefore hid everything so that people would not find out about it. The hero does not blame her and says that if it is necessary to kill goblins, then let him call. The team rides back in the carriage, and with the reward they received, the heroes want to make ice cream themselves, and everyone imposes on him to eat too, and he does not mind. The hero will tell us that since childhood, he wanted to be a hero and even kill a dragon. But for this, he had to leave his older sister who raised him. He remembers how she made him a stew, but he can't remember the taste because something happened that day. Together with his girlfriend, the hero goes to the guild where he takes the subordinate armor and gives it to the crumpled one for repair, asks the blacksmith about the scrolls. But he says to wait. The trainee asks the blacksmith why the Goblin Killer wears such armor, but the blacksmith's answer is interrupted. Seasoned adventurers train youngsters, after which the hero enters the guild and is given a letter from the Virgin, in which she says that her fear is gone. The team eats, and the receptionist says that they are going to open a training hall in the outskirts where old adventurers unfit for adventure will work and train newcomers so that the latter have an increased chance of survival. She also sets conditions for the hero that if he loses consciousness, again, he will be out of work for 6 months. Rosa tells him that he has good friends, to which he replies that they know their business and it's easier to exterminate goblins with them. After a night during which a dwarf or a fake argue who will drink more, the hero checks the area again and finds many traces. He tells his girlfriend that an army of goblins will come at night and she needs to leave. They most likely have a leader, the Goblin Lord, a very intelligent mutated representative. But Rosa is not going to leave because the hero will stay and she does not want to leave him. He comes to the guild and asks for help, but without a reward. They all don't care. He offered a reward for everything he has, but only a mug of beer was taken from him. And the registrar's friend said that 1 gold piece would be put for each goblin, and everyone gradually agrees to help the hero, and recognizes that he is a talisman and an irreplaceable part of the guild, and thanks to the hero's plan, everything works like clockwork. The goblin army comes and uses human shields, but they are put to sleep and the heroes take the women. There is a battle where some even almost die after they fight off the wolves and the goblins stop the offensive, but to replace them, the Lord sent goblin champions who killed a couple in the forest. The pros finally had fun, and people are wondering where the Goblin Killer himself is, to which he gets an obvious answer. He kills goblins. The Goblin Lord is trying to escape and replenish the army to come again, but the Goblin Killer guessed about this course of thought of the Lord and destroyed his nest. He attacks head-on and wounds the Lord. Well, he gets a lot himself. A parody of Gatsa and a girl together defeat a goblin with a club. And after that, the guy with the spear deftly repels and evades the blows of the goblin with the flail and overcomes him alone. The Lord wounds the hero and tries to crush his head, but according to the hero's plan, the priestess squeezes the Lord with 2 barriers. The Lord begs for mercy, but the priestess remembers the treachery of the goblins and is not going to spare him. The Goblin Killer gets up and finishes off the Lord with his broken sword. He returns home, after which everyone has fun and drinks in honor of the hero and victory. The hero says that we were just lucky that everyone decided to help him, but the priestess says that this is a failure and everyone is really ready to come to his rescue. She asks for a reward for the rescue and tells the hero to take off his helmet. Everyone is shocked and wants to look at the Goblin Killer, and he turns out to be a noble, handsome man. He responds to their sweet interest with a smile. At this sweet moment, this bloody anime ends this year. The season is due to come out, and I will definitely make a sequel as soon as it comes out. So put a like and subscribe so as not to miss it. All bye.